episode 5 of this season of War Machines. After this episode, we will be a little more than halfway done with the opening round of this tournament. Featured in this episode are multiple returners who made it quite far in the tournament last season, along with a few newcomers who might prove that they are a major competitor to watch here in the tournament. So now that I've said that, let's see who is on tonight's fight card. We lead it off in the Robot Wars class tonight, where we will see Foxic and their lifter take on the horizontal spinner of Swarm. Next, we see the return of Falcon and their two powerful drum spinners, who will take on the grabber of Hold My Beer. Third, we have a hammer battle between Bonk and Noisy Cricket. Our fourth fight of the night features the only interchangeable weapon spot in the competition, Tornado, who will take on the vertical spinner of Backlash. Next, we'll see Apex and their horizontal spinner take on the two vertical spinners of Black Hole. The sixth fight of the night features the return of both the Crusher of Kraken and the Undercutter of Rev 4. The first highlight fight of the night features the Rammer of Killdozer and the Spike of Gladiator. Next, we have the return of semifinalist Apollo, who will take on the Crusher of Dwayne Nibley. Following that, the grabber of Alien Destructor will take on Bigger Brother and their flipper. The full body spinner of Battlesaw has a fight coming with returner Uppercut and their devastating vertical spinner. The last highlight fight of the night features Defector and their lifter, who will take on the vertical spinner of Hyperion. The next fight features two more returners who happen to be the lifter of Snappy and semifinalists from last season, Son of Waiachi and their powerful full-body spinner. Minion and their wedge and vertical disc spinner return for another season of War Machines, and their first opponent is the horizontal spinner of Moros. The second to last fight of the night features the return of semifinalist Tombstone and their devastating spinner, who will take on the unique puncher and punching drum spinner of Tantrum. Finally, we have tonight's main event, which features the flipper of Bulldog Breed and the horizontal spinner of Hypnodisc. I am looking forward to this night, as this is a terrific lineup, so let's get to the first fight. For our first fight of the night, we start off in the Robot Wars class, where we will see Robot Wars competitor Foxic take on Swarm. We got Foxic with their lifter. That lifter has quite a bit of power to it, and they are very low to the ground, and they do have a lot of push power in that bot. But, of course, though they do have those exposed sides, their top armor is not exactly the heaviest, which their opponent could take advantage of, whom is Swarm, in which they have a horizontal spinner. That thing has a lot of reach to it and a lot of power to it. But of course they do have their exposed sides themselves, and as well stability might be a problem in this one, and something that Foxic may try to take advantage of. No matter who wins this fight, this should be an excellent fight to lead off this episode, and let's now get to it. Foxic charging right out of the gate, getting a lift, and already Swarm is out of control. Just going all over the place right now. Foxic looking to take advantage of that. They get an excellent lift in there. And Foxic, they do have to be careful about that horizontal spinner, because it is going at that speed and can do some damage there. We did see a nice lift there by Foxic, and off comes the top panel of Foxic. So now their electronics and motors and all their internals are exposed. So now they got to be very careful not to get hit up there with that horizontal spinner. Foxic getting another excellent lift in there on Swarm. And Swarm just not being given an inch here. Another lift by Foxic, and Swarm unstable once again. This has been an issue so far throughout the first minute of this fight, as now we are approaching the 1 minute mark. Foxic opens up the Piv Oblivion. Are they going to try to put Swarm down it? But now Foxic, here they come again with another charge, getting another lift in there. Just not allowing Swarm to be unstable, and Foxic nearly almost get Swarm out of the arena, as we saw them twice go off the top there, nearly going out of the arena. That is the closest somebody has ever come from almost falling out of the arena there, but managing to stay in. What a move that was. Now Fox had got Swarm in a corner, showing lots of aggression and control here throughout this fight. I gotta say, they are leading on points here so far. So we are approaching the 1 minute mark in this fight. Right now, Fox is doing an excellent job here, just not allowing Swarm an inch here, just not allowing them to get that spinner going and do any significant damage other than what they did at the beginning of this fight. One thing judges don't like to see is a lot of uncontrolled movement, and we are seeing a ton of it out of Swarm here. Gotta give Fox like an inch if this was to go with the judges. So here we go. Here comes Fox getting ready to come in with that lifter again. Right now, can they get Swarm down the pit of Oblivion? They are near it. Here we go. One last hit to the side, and Swarm is down the pit of Oblivion, and Foxic wins by knockout. Gotta say, though, big credit for Foxic for just going at Swarm right out of the gate with that lifter, causing Swarm to spin out of control right from the start of this fight, just taking advantage of their stability issue. Foxic may have taken some damage like right at this point here, but that was really the only bit of key damage we saw out of Swarm. This point has gotta be my favorite part of this fight. Swarm just so close to falling out of the arena twice in that fight, twice right at that moment, and managing to stay in the arena. Fantastic. And right now, it wasn't long after that before one last hit from Swarm right to the sides of Foxic. The impact sent them down the pit of Oblivion. Fantastic fight out of both machines. And now coming up next, we go to the Battlebots and Bugglebots class, where we will see Falcon take on Hold My Beer. We got on one side, we have Falcon, a returner from last season who had a first round exit in their heat against Rotator. They are back and looking to go a few rounds further than that. Falcon has two drum spinners, two very powerful spinners, but the cost of that is their exposed sides, and as well, they are not the most maneuverable machine. That could be a very big problem with their opponent, Hold My Beer, who is a grabber. That bot has a lot of push power to that thing, and a lot of crushing strength through that grabber that I imagine they will try to use on their opponent. But of course, the big problem is those exposed tires and their exposed backside could be a problem for Hold My Beer if they are not careful in this one. So now, let's get to the fight, as this should be a very exciting one. Oh my gosh, look at the size of Hold My Beer compared to Falcon. As we see them open up the pit, but Falcon gets a few jabs, and with that drum spinner, doesn't seem to do that much damage. Holy crap, just look at the size of Hold My Beer compared to Falcon. Falcon literally fits right into the grip of Hold My Beer, and they are using that crusher, pushing them towards the pit of Oblivion, and down the pit goes Falcon, and Hold My Beer wins in 30 seconds. I gotta say though, wow, that size advantage that Hold My Beer has, I did not expect that. Falcon did get a chance to get some damage with that drum spinner, but it seemed like they did little to no damage there in that exchange. But of course, they just fit perfectly right into the grip of Hold My Beer's grabber, and then they were soon pushed all the way down the pit. Fantastic fight. Hold My Beer, they are definitely one to watch here. We go back to the Robot Wars class for our next fight, which features a hammer battle between Bonk and Noisy Cricket. On one side, we have Bonk. That bot has a lot of push power, it is very well armored, and they have a pretty damaging hammer there. Of course, though, their hammer is relatively delicate, so that could be a problem in this fight if they are not careful. Their opponent is Noisy Cricket, another hammer bot. That hammer has a lot of power, a lot of devastating power to it. But their big issue is that they rely on winning the ground game in order to use that hammer, and they are not that low to the ground. So they might need to outmaneuver Bonk or something like that if they are going to win the ground game and also in some of their future fights. So this should be an exciting one, so now let's get right to it. Here we go, a slow approach from Noisy Cricket, a fast approach from Bonk, and Bonk seems to be winning the ground game so far as they land a few big shots with their hammer. Noisy Cricket's got to outmaneuver Bonk, get underneath them so they can use their hammer here. They got to be careful though, Bonk is striking very near those exposed wheels, and that could be a very big issue. We see the spike trap getting involved here, and now Bonk now underneath Noisy Cricket. That's not the place they want to be here, and the hammerhead comes off of Bonk. That is not good here, as now Noisy Cricket lands a ton of devastating shots right on Bonk. This is not the way they wanted to start this fight here. They are landing some more shots, and now they lost the stick to their hammer too. Bonk is now weaponless in this one, while Noisy Cricket's still going at full force, but right now those hammer shots are not landing, but now they are just bashing Bonk like crazy. Off came the top panel now. That's not how they want to start this one. That is not how Bonk was wanting this fight to go here. They are weaponless, without a key piece of armor here, and now we still have a minute 40 left to go in this fight. So now we have a push off, Noisy Cricket trying to win the ground game, but Bonk just preventing that from happening. Noisy Cricket opens up the Pit of Oblivion, but Bonk tells him, I'm right behind you, focus on me. So now we have a push off here. Is Noisy Cricket going to try to push Bonk straight into the pit there? But right now, neither bot really able to get the advantage, but Noisy Cricket seems like they have the higher amount of push power here. And right now they're trying to push them into the rails, but not working out so well. Noisy Cricket just trying to land shots, but unable to do so. We now have a minute left to go in this fight. I gotta say, Noisy Cricket is ahead on points here, but not by much. So now, Noisy Cricket had Bonk right at the sides, now pushing them once again. Man, a real stalemate for the past minute or so. We haven't seen any effective shots on Noisy Cricket for a while now. But now Bonk takes a shot from the floor flipper and they're flipped over. Thanks to them losing their hammer, they can't self-right now. Noisy Cricket, they want some more. They want to land some more shots there, landing more hits the underside here. Well, looks like they're leading them over towards the Pit of Oblivion. 15 seconds left to go in this fight here. Noisy Cricket landing a few more shots here, and I see smoke now coming out of Bonk. That's not good here. About 5 seconds left to go as Noisy Cricket pushes Bonk down the Pit of Oblivion and wins it with 3 seconds left on the clock. A knockout is a knockout though, and gotta say, I did not see that coming as Bonk looked like they had the edge at first, landing a ton of heavy shots here. But then things started going bad for Bonk around this point here, where we saw them Noisy Cricket get underneath them and eventually go weapon on weapon, and Noisy Cricket won the exchange there because Bonk lost their hammerhead, and soon they lost the entire stick as well to their hammer, proving that their weapon is quite delicate. It was a stalemate until about this point right here, where Bonk took a shot from the floor flipper and where they could not self-right. And Noisy Cricket, along with hitting them a few more times, finished them off by putting them down the Pit of Oblivion. Bonk Bonk, who will be awaiting to see if they got a wild card, and then we got Noisy Cricket, where they will probably be one to watch here in this tournament. Fantastic victory. For our next fight, we go to the DSL class for the first time, where we have Backlash and Tornado. On one side, we have Backlash with their vertical disc spinner. That spinner has a lot of power to it, and if they do get flipped over, they can self-right the use of their spinner as long as it is functioning properly. Of course though, they do have those exposed sides, and they don't have a lot of push power to that design, so Backlash will be relying on that spinner, try to keep it going, and try to do as much damage as possible. On the other side, we have Tornado, who is the tournament's one and only interchangeable weapons bot. This bot has two weapon options between the drum spinner that you see in the image there and a really low to the ground wedge, which that gives them a major advantage in a fight like this, or really any fights, as they have multiple configurations that they could use against multiple types of bots here. Multiple weapons gives them a major advantage in this one, but no matter which configuration they go with, their exposed sides will be a major weakness against spinner bots like Backlash, for example. So now, let's find out what configuration Tornado went with and get to this fight. Looks like Tornado went with the wedge configuration for some extra push power, and they are already stuck after a shot to the front of Backlash here. Could that be a problem? But now they are free, and they take a shot from Backlash's spinner. Tornado said they went with that wedge for some extra aggression and control here, knowing Backlash doesn't have a lot of push power to it. Looks like they tried to open up the pit of Oblivion, but just missed the tire there, and they flip Backlash over, but Backlash is able to self-right the use of their spinner there. Now Tornado opens up the pit, but they take a shot to the backside from Backlash, and right now they're taking Backlash into the rails here. It looks like that weapon choice was probably the right choice so far. But now, Backlash up and running again, and now Tornado right at the sides of Backlash here, trying to take control of them. Here comes Tornado, a major charge in there, and Backlash is a flip right in the air. And another big charge, and Backlash is in the rails once again. Tornado doing an excellent job controlling this fight with that wedge. But now they have them right up against the pit tire, but the pit is already open, so other than getting some extra control points, didn't have too much major effect here. So now, ramming them into the rails once again, Tornado doing a fantastic job controlling this fight. We are approaching the halfway point on this fight. I gotta say, even with that damage we just saw Tornado take right to the sides, Tornado is ahead on points here, as they are just not giving Backlash an inch here. As Tornado right at the sides of Backlash once again, right at the front now, trying to push them around. They're leading them kind of towards the pit of Oblivion and getting them down the pit. And Tornado wins by knockout. Fantastic fight as Tornado, the one and only interchangeable weapons bot, went with their wedge for some push power here. It almost got stuck, but luckily got free quite quickly in there. And they showed that wedge was an excellent choice between that and their drum spinner there, as they were able to just push Backlash around, stack up the control and aggression points here. Even with that weapon spinning, Backlash just could not get that spinner going, just not get too much damage, and even though they did knock off one of the side panels at this point in the fight here, even though it looks like the spikes were the one that knocked it off, and Backlash was soon pushed down the pit of Oblivion, and Tornado wins by knockout. Coming up next, we return to the Robot Wars class, where we will see Apex take on Black Hole. On one side, we have Apex, and I will let you know that the Apex that we will see in the arena does look different from that image there. As for color scheme, the design is relatively similar there. That horizontal spinner is very large and has a lot of power to it. But of course, a big problem that Apex does have is their stability. as they could flip themselves over very easily here. They do have the power to self-right through the use of that spinner there, as long as they can keep it spinning. So now on the other side, we have Black Hole, who has 2 vertical spinners there. Those 2 vertical spinners have quite a lot of power out of them. As I mentioned, they could give Apex quite a bit of trouble here. But they do have those exposed sides, which could be a big issue for them if Apex manages to maneuver around them and get to those sides with that spinner at full speed. So now, let's get to the fight, as this should be a very exciting one. Here comes Apex right out of the gate. What happened? That weapon's not spinning. Now it's going here, but they took a shot from Black Hole right at the beginning and taking another weapon-on-weapon shot. Apex looking a little off-balanced after those exchanges there. Could that be a problem? Another weapon-on-weapon shot. Black Hole firing quickly, and Apex is flipped over. Apex, they gotta use that weapon to self-right here. And they gotta do it fast. They each take a shot from the floor flipper, but Apex is still on their head. They gotta self-right quickly, or else they'll be counted out. Black Hole just not allowing them to spin up, just keeping them right on their head there. Countdown is coming here. Apex is currently being counted out. They're trying to self-right. Countdown is turned off there. And a big hit by Black Hole, but it helps Apex self-right, and off comes the spinners of Black Hole. Black Hole is now weaponless here. Now, now Black Hole's just gonna have to continue to charge right at Apex. They just did get another flip on them. Try to break that spinner, keep Apex on their head as much as possible, and gain as much aggression and control points as they possibly can if this fight happens to go the distance. Apex getting away, getting that weapon to speed, landing a big hit. That's pretty much what the rest of this fight's just going to be like here, possibly, as Apex is going to be looking to get away from Black Hole for enough time to get that weapon up to speed and going for a major shot, as we are seeing them land hit after hit. Black Hole just not able to keep up with Apex and box rush them, prevent that spinner from getting up to speed. Major shots to the front end of Black Hole here, as it's taking major impact, but they are holding up very well here. We are approaching the 1 minute mark in this fight. Gotta say, it's reasonably close, as Black Hole got in a ton of big hits at the beginning, but then ever since they lost their weapon, Apex has just been catching up slowly on points here. So here comes Black Hole once again, taking a few more major shots from Apex's spinner. Black Hole just needs to keep up with Apex, just prevent that weapon from getting up to speed, but they are struggling to do so here. Less than 30 seconds to go here, and Apex, I would probably give them an edge on points so far with the amount of damage they've been able to get in with that spinner. They nearly got flipped once again, though. Looks like we're about to hit the 10-second mark. I bet a countdown is very unlikely on either bots. As to my perspective, I think this fight is going to be going to the judges. And it has, as the clock has now hit 0. And this fight is in the judges' hands, and this may not be an easy one. So we saw Apex taking a ton of big hits from the vertical spinners of Black Hole, as Black Hole using that weapon advantage to their advantage very well here, and causing Apex to spin out of control multiple times, even get a good flip in. But then right at this point was when the fight started to turn here. Both spinners were removed from Black Hole, leaving them weaponless from the remainder of the fight, and all they could do was just take hit after hit from Apex, try to break the spinner, try to keep it from getting up to speed, gain some aggression and control points, but that was a struggle. Still, this should be a reasonably close fight. Now let's get to the decision. The judges' votes are in, and it is a unanimous decision in favor of Apex! And I gotta say, close decision, as the judges did give a lot of credit to Black Hole for what they were able to do at the beginning of this fight. Excellent fight. I could definitely see Black Hole getting a wild card at the end of the opening round, but we will have to see. So now, let's get to the next fight, where we will go back to the Battlebots and Bugglebots class for our next one, which is between Kraken and RA2 two returners. On one side, we have Kraken, who had a first round exit in their heat last year against Monsoon. They are back with that Crusher and Flamethrower. That Crusher does have a lot of power to it. It has a very effective combo there. But then, of course, they do have those exposed sides and those two exposed tires that could give them a lot of trouble if they are not careful on this one. Kraken's opponent is REV4, who also had a first round exit last season, but to Texas Twister. That horizontal spinner is very powerful, as even though they didn't win their first round fight, Texas Twister came out of it with a lot of damage from there. But of course, those two exposed wheels could be a major problem, and that bot doesn't have a lot of push power if that spinner is not spinning. This should be a very interesting one, so now let's get to the fight. Here we go, REV4 getting their sprint speed. Here comes Kraken looking to box rush is what it looks like. I see a big piece coming off. Don't know if that's part of REV4's spinner or the front of Kraken, but big hit right there. REV4 going for those exposed wheels, and they get a wheel off Kraken. Kraken has already lost drive on one side, and we're not even 30 seconds into this fight. Big hit by REV4 and knocking off a major piece of the front of Kraken. This is not the way Kraken was hoping to start out this fight. REV4 is now upside down. Luckily, they can drive inverted here, and now they are getting that spinner going, coming in for more big hits, and now Kraken takes a major shot. Here comes REV4 spinning out of control, but now they are right side up here. Here comes REV4 on the attack once again, trying to land another major shot, causing more damage to Kraken. I did see a countdown on Kraken, but then it did stop after that last hit. I see another piece came off of Kraken after that last hit. But now REV4 backing up here. Could a countdown be coming on Kraken very soon? And another major shot, and off came the other wheel. Another one, and off came the antenna of Kraken. Lots of Kraken's parts are all around the arena, and they are flipped over and not moving here. I think Kraken is about to be counted out, and REV4 is going to be awarded with the knockout victory. What a victory that was for them, and we will see them in the next round. Fantastic performance by REV4 here. They're landing some major shots there, but then it started out badly for Kraken, as within 15 seconds into the fight, they lost drive on one side due to REV4 claiming one of their wheels. Ton more big shots from that horizontal spinner were landed, knocking off tons of pieces off Kraken. But then, this was kind of the kill shot right here. Another major shot that knocks off Kraken's other wheel, even gets to there, and very exciting fight, and I'm looking forward to seeing REV4 back. Our first highlight fight of the night is between the Rammer of Killdozer and the Spike of Gladiator here in the DSL class. So now we saw Gladiator and Killdozer just going right at each other from the start of this fight. Gladiator seemed to be winning most of those exchanges. We did see Killdozer get a few good rams in there. We did see many opportunities by Killdozer and many opportunities by Gladiator themselves. Great fight by both bots. Clash of the Titans right here. But it was Killdozer who made a major driving mistake that put them down the pit of oblivion. Up second, we have the return of semifinalists Apollo and their launcher will take on Dwayne Nibley and their Crusher. In this one, we saw Dwayne Nibley get underneath Apollo early and nearly get a few bites to take control of them, but it wasn't long before Apollo managed to get a flip on them and dumped them down the pit of oblivion, and Apollo was awarded with the knockout victory. The third highlight fight features the grabber of Alien Destructor and the flipper of Bigger Brother in the Robot Wars class. Things started out badly for Alien Destructor as we saw flip after flip right at the early go for this fight from Bigger Brother here, as they just gave Alien Destructor a lot of trouble. We saw Alien Destructor get a few moves in, but then that was about it, as it wasn't too long before Bigger Brother took control of this fight with that flipper once again, and even after that, it wasn't long before Bigger Brother managed to flip Alien Destructor all the way down the pit of oblivion and get the knockout. Next up, we go back to the Battlebots and Bugglebots class, where we will see the full body spinner of Battlesaw take on the returner, the vertical spinner of Uppercut. So now, Battlesaw taking some major hits right from the start of this fight from that vertical spinner, but it later showed that Battlesaw seemed to be getting the better of a lot of these exchanges, as we saw pieces of Uppercut all over the arena, despite all the major shots that Battlesaw was taking here. But of course, though, we did see Uppercut eventually get a few major pins on Battlesaw, and Battlesaw was the one down the pit of oblivion. So now we got Defector and Hyperion for our last highlight fight of the night. A flipper and a vertical spinner face off here, as we saw Hyperion getting some major shots in with that vertical spinner early, just giving Defector a lot of trouble, just not giving Defector an opportunity to use that flipper. But then it wasn't long after that before Defector started taking control themselves, getting a few major flips in on Hyperion. But not long after that, Hyperion got some breathing room, managed to tear off the entire shell, the entire top of Defector, and then it wasn't long after that before Defector, they were knocked down the pit of oblivion, and Hyperion was awarded with a KO. So now, all those fights will be available at the end of the season in the last 3 episodes, where all bonus fights will be shown specifically for bots that were fan favorites or just entertaining fights in there. Still, big congrats to the 5 who advanced, and I bet we could see wildcards given out to some of the other 5 losing contenders. So now let's get to the next fight, where we see the return of 2 nasty bots. On one side, we have Snappy, a Bugglebots 2018 Grand Finalist, and Snappy has a very powerful lifter at their hands. This bot is very well armored, but of course they do have those exposed sides, and as well, if they do misflip with that thing, they do tend to send themselves up in the air, which could be a problem if they're not careful. On the other side, we have Son of Waiachi, a semi-finalist from last season. That is a powerful full body spinner, one of the most powerful in the competition here. But while they do have a very powerful spinner there, stability is a major problem. If they do get flipped over, it is possible for them to self-right to the use of their spinner, but still, that could give them a major amount of trouble in this fight and could be some major opportunities for their opponent. I am very excited for this fight, so now let's get right to it. Here we go, Son of Waiachi getting that spinner up to speed, landing a shot ran, Snappy another big hit. Snappy getting a lift in there, but not quite a flip. Son of Waiachi off to a good start, landing some big shots there. But Son of Waiachi spinning out of control, and they are upside down here. Snappy coming in with that lifter. And I saw a piece fly off of somebody. That can't be good. Snappy getting another flip on Son of Waiachi. They are taking advantage of Son of Waiachi being upside down here. But now Snappy, they gotta right themselves here. Sao is free. They're getting that spinner going, but they are flipped once again. Snappy giving Son of Waiachi a lot of trouble here. This is not good for the semifinalists. Not a very good start here. and they are flipped on their head once again. But now Snappy pushing Son of Waiachi towards the rails once again, and getting them out of the arena, and Snappy wins in what I call an upset here. Son of Waiachi, a semi-finalist from last year, well known for that powerful full body spinner, landing a ton of big hits at the beginning here. But at this point, when they spun out of control here, I'm not sure exactly what happened there. It just started going badly for them. Snappy took full-on advantage of that. Got tons of great flips in there. And wow. Eventually got Son of Waiachi in the corner here. And then it wasn't too long after that before Snappy managed to flip them clean out of the arena and secure a knockout victory. Fantastic win for Snappy. Son of Waiachi will be in the hunt for a wild card. Coming up next, we go back to the DSL class, where we will see the return of Minion, who will take on Moros. On one side, we have Minion, who won their first fight last season, but then fell in the second round to Apollo. They have their vertical disc and their wedge, which that multiple weapons to give them an excellent combo here. But then those exposed sides could be a major issue if they are not careful here. On the other side, we have Moros, and I will just tell you, the design we will see does not look exactly like that, but it's very close to it. They do have a horizontal spinner that is quite large and does have a lot of power to it. Of course though, their horizontal spinner, because of that design, they do not have a lot of push power, and as well, those wheels could be exposed too if that spinner is not going. This should be a very exciting fight. This could go either way. Let's find out who will take this one and advance to the next round. Let's get to the fight. Minion charging with that vertical disc going and landing some big hits. Moros is flipped over, but they can self-right through the use of that spinner. They took another major shot, and I see smoke coming out of Moros. Not a good start for them. This was not what I was expecting to see. Minion is just dominating this fight so far. Now they are charging with the wedge, looks like they just missed. Charged with the vertical spinner once again, looking to get a couple more blows on Moros, and Moros takes another major shot, and their control board is in trouble. This is not a good way for them to start this fight here. Minion is completely dominating this fight. As I gotta say, Moros spinning out of control here. They got self-right. Minion helps him out, but now Moros, they lost their spinner. Moros is now weaponless. Their control board is in danger here, and the floor flipper finishes them off, and Minion gets the automatic KO here. Wow, I did not see this coming. I thought this fight was going to be a lot closer than this. Minion just came at Moros right out of the gate, fearless. Fearless, not afraid to go weapon on weapon, and it wasn't long before they just damaged the control board, knocked off the horizontal spinner, and overall just finished them off with the aid of the floor flipper. Fantastic win by Minion. And now coming up next, we return to the Battlebots class to see Tantrum take on Tombstone. Tantrum had an early exit last season when they ran into Sawblaze in the first round of their heat, but they are back and looking to come out swinging with that unique weapon, as they have a puncher and a spinning drum there combo. Excellent combo, along with the fact that they are quite well armored and they do have front configurations for whatever type of weapon they go up against here. But of course, while they do have an effective combo, I bet we will see some destruction out of it, but it isn't the most effective weapon that we have seen in the competition. On the other side, we have Tombstone, a semi-finalist from last season. Tombstone is very well known for that massive horizontal spinner, as that thing has caused a lot of destruction, and we saw a lot of it last season. Of course, though, while that spinner is very powerful, they do have a delicate weapon and some very exposed sides there that Tantrum could take advantage of. I am very excited for this fight, but before we get to it, let's see some highlights from last season's semi-finalist. Tombstone, very well known, like I said before, for that horizontal spinner, as it caused a lot of destruction in their heat. But of course, they got a bad case of endgame and then Bite Force as well. They eliminated them from the tournament. But Tombstone is back, stronger than ever, looking to take the title. Tantrum going with their front plow here, looking to take hits from Tombstone, and they are getting underneath Tombstone, landing some shots with that drum spinner. I do see some pieces coming off of Tantrum. Looks like those are kind of like the top pieces connecting with the drum spinner here. It looks like those are there for decorations. Tantrum is still running great at Tombstone at full speed and landing some shots to the underside of Tombstone. Tantrum is holding up so well to Tombstone overall here and not giving Tombstone a chance to do some serious damage here. Could this be problematic for Tombstone? Tantrum just going right at Tombstone, no fear here, and helping them out as they are showing lots of aggression and even getting a bunch of control. And oh my goodness! Tombstone just lost their horizontal spinner. It's like Tantrum lost a fist too, but still, they got the better of that exchange here as Tombstone is weaponless for the remainder of this fight. And we just passed the 1 minute mark in this fight. Not the way Tombstone wanted to start this fight. Tantrum flipped over, needing to self-right. They can drive upside down though, but then they aren't as effective upside down, so they'll probably want to self-right, trying to go into the rails, using the rails to help them self-right here. But now they come into Tombstone here, and now Tantrum self-rights here, and now back on the attack on a weaponless Tombstone. Tombstone's gonna have to rely on push power to take control of this fight here, but Tantrum seems to have the better push design between the two. Ooh, and now Tombstone taking a shot from the floor flipper here. Just what are they gonna do here? Tantrum just taking control of this fight. 1 minute left here, and I gotta say, the points are definitely in their favor. This is a major upset here, as I did not see this coming here. Tantrum just getting underneath Tombstone, pushing them around, pushing them towards that pit of oblivion, and knocking them down it, and Tantrum wins this fight by knockout. Wow, what a lot of action here, and I just gotta review all this just to see what the heck happened here. We saw Tantrum just getting underneath Tombstone right from the start of this fight, just going no fear right at the Battlebots 2016 champion. And it sure paid off because they held up to Tombstone so well. And then eventually that happened and Tombstone lost their entire spinner, which left them weaponless for the remainder of the fight. And Tantrum just had Tombstone right in their hands and eventually put Tombstone down the pit of oblivion. Tombstone will definitely be in the hunt for a wild card here. And what about Tantrum here? Did they just won that? Finally, we have our main event, which is in the Robot Wars class this time, where we will have Bulldog Breed take on Hypnodisc. We have Bulldog Breed with a flipper with their arsenal. Now, as they are very well armored, that flipper does have quite a bit of power to it, but of course they do have those exposed sides which their opponent may try to take advantage of in this fight. On the other side, we have Hypnodisc, who made the grand final episode multiple times during Robot Wars. That is another spinner that is very well known for their destructive power. They do have a self-righting mechanism if they do happen to get flipped, but of course they do have those exposed sides, and they don't have a lot of push power to it. which could be a problem for them if they fall right into Bulldog Breed's hands in this one. This should be an interesting one. This should be a very fun main event. I am very much looking forward to this, and I hope you all are as well. So now, let's get to tonight's main event. Let the main event begin, and Hypnodisc taking an early flip. Bulldog Breed charging at Hypnodisc, just not allowing them to get that spinner going and landing flip after flip. They are giving Hypnodisc a lot of trouble here, even though Hypnodisc does have a self-righting mechanism. Right now they get away, but Hypnodisc takes another flip early. They gotta get to the sides and the back sides. That front on Bulldog Breed is giving Hypnodisc a lot of trouble. I think I saw a part go flying or something like that earlier, or not long. Question is, what was that? Might have been the front panels on Bulldog Breed there, as those do look relatively exposed here, which can't be good. Hypnodisc just not being given a chance here. They are on their backside here. Bulldog Breed just has them right on the ropes here. I see something else went flying here. That looks like one of the teeth on Hypnodisc spinner. They look a little off balance. That can't be good. Here is now Bulldog Breed taking advantage of that, landing flip after flip on Hypnodisc. This is not the way Hypnodisc imagined this fight would go here, as Bulldog Breed is just taking it to them. We're approaching the halfway point in this fight, and right now Bulldog Breed gotta be in the lead on points here. But now more and more flips coming from Bulldog Breed here, just sending Hypnodisc out of control here, just not allowing them to get the hits that we are well known for seeing Bulldog Breed land. But right now, here we go. Bulldog Breed just landing flip after flip here. They got them in the corner right up against the rails here, just stacking up the control and aggression points here. And now, Hypnodisc, they just gotta get away, find some breathing room, get that spinner going, land some shots right in the area they need to hit. But now, Hypnodisc, they got the breathing room. There goes something. Something went flying there. Question, yeah, not sure what that was, if that was part of Bulldog Breed or part of Hypnodisc, but still, either way, Bulldog Breed coming at Hypnodisc right away. 30 seconds left to go in this fight. Hypnodisc, other than at the beginning of the fight, we haven't really seen any major damage caused by them. There goes the other tooth on their spinner. Hypnodisc is in some serious trouble here. They gotta get something going in the last 10 seconds of this fight here. 10 seconds now approaching. Bulldog Breed just never giving Hypnodisc a chance in this one, as the clock is now hit 0 and this fight is going to the judges. And I gotta say, this may be one of the easier decisions sent over to the judges this season, as Bulldog Breed just came right at Hypnodisc right from the start of the fight with that box rush. Just did not allow Hypnodisc to get up to speed and land some of those shots that we are well known for seeing them hit. Hypnodisc just struggled to get anything going. We saw them lose the teeth on their spinner one by one. The only big damage we really saw out of Hypnodisc was at that scene right there where they took off the front panels on the front of Bulldog Breed. And yeah, their teeth got taken off one by one. Bulldog Breed just never gave them a chance, and this was a major struggle for Hypnodisc. So now, let's hear what the judges had to say. You never know what could happen when a fight falls in front of them. So, the judges' scorecards are in, and it was unanimous. The winner of this main event is Bulldog Breed. And I gotta agree with the decision. This is probably one of the easier ones so far, as Bulldog Breed just did not give Hypnodisc a chance in this one. Fantastic win by Bulldog Breed, and Hypnodisc will definitely be in the hunt for a wild card. So now, Fantastic main event. What a way to end the night here. We saw lots of great fights to end this fight card, to end this episode. If I had to name a few stars of the night, Noisy Cricket looked terrific in their victory against Bonk. Hold My Beer pulled off an unusual victory today. Rev 4 is back and stronger than ever, even though we didn't get to see the fight. Apollo pulled off a major win. Minion made a spectacular return to the arena. And we cannot forget to talk about Tantrum here. Pulling off a major upset in their first fight. They will definitely be one to watch this season. What an episode we just saw. There will be more mayhem coming throughout the rest of the season, and I will hopefully see you next time.